Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody. It's that BAT daddy. Rolling as always, my homeboy, T-Bone with a capital T. Cut the music. All right, folks, we're back again this week. Let's see if we can get things done right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, your podcast provider of choice proudly brings to you the Geek Ultimate Alliance Tag Team Champions of the World! The T-Bone Travis Hines, the Bat Daddy 52, the DC Alliance Podcast. And of course, if you don't like it, we got 2 words for you. Keep listening. Well, here we are, Chapter 7 of the DC Alliance podcast. This is the Tag Team Champion of the World, Mr. Travis Hines, and the Bat Daddy 52, Greg. Doing great tonight. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Travis, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, Greg. I don't know about champions of the world, but I know, there's a champion of the NBA 2K20 playground, and I think you know very well who that big dog is.
Yeah, I got a pretty bad, like a 350 win percentage against you, so it's not great. Or no, 250.
You're 2 wins out of 8 games. That's not too bad.
3. It's 3 and 6, isn't it? I thought.
No,
I don't know.
sorry, buddy. Sorry.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to give myself a little more credit there, I suppose. But yeah, so I just got the game. I'm not very good at it, but I'm not very good at video games. They're fun though.
Oh, they're great games, folks.
They're
Don't let my like ribbing mind you. A lot of those games have come down to the last shot in the fourth quarter. So Greg just had some unlucky bounces, but I've been relishing in it anyway.
Yeah. LeBron wasn't doing it for me for a few games, so it was definitely a problem. Yeah, man. So we've been having fun playing video games. A lot of news going on. This is the last night of my vacation. I got to go to work tomorrow, so great way to end it with a show like this tonight. And there's been a whole lot going on this week. So you want to get started with some news? Actually, before we get started with some news, let's talk about the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network, which is the network that we're part of. You can get your shows Monday through Friday on there. We have everything you want covered. DC for us. Marvel, there's a Marvel show, a Star Wars show, there's a movie show, and there's also an animated show as well as a comic book show. So we cover just about everything on there 5 days a week. Check us out, Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. Now we'll get to some news.
Well, we have a Patreon as well.
Okay.
$1 tier just gives us some love, helps us keep the lights on, as Greg likes to say. And $5 tier gets you ad-free episodes and early access to episodes. Most of the time, there's at least one extra episode of superhero discussions. We try to keep that current, and we're planning on doing a couple of recordings. I know we're scheduling to do one tomorrow with Chris Balga for breaking down the 15 movie DCAU, like overall big picture, ranking our top 10 movies or top 5. I'm not sure what we decided on yet, and also an outlaw time where to go from here, and that'll drop to Patreon people exclusively, and maybe leading up to the Man of Tomorrow animated show with Superman that can be released to the regular Geek Ultimate Alliance listeners.
There you go. Check it out. Always appreciate the support. Let's go ahead and talk about some news, man. We had 3 kind of stories. We're kind of meshing them into 2. So we'll talk about the first one, and the first one kind of rolls into what would be the second one, which we're not really sure how big of a story it is. But the new Batman Universe show on HBO Max. So news came out that Reeves has signed a contract to do a Batman show that is in the same universe as Robert Pattinson's Batman on the big screen, correct?
Yep.
Okay. But I know that we talked about it the other day on Super Civil Servants. At that time, I wasn't sure the time setting it was, but since then, I think actually almost immediately after we recorded that show, I saw the first time that it was actually going to be a prequel to Batman being there. It's a series about how Gotham got to be where it was to need Batman, which is great, but just got that. So, I mean, I liked Gotham, and I'm not saying this is not going to be good, but I would rather see something like a Bat Family show if they're going to do something in this universe, you know? I don't know how well that would work with what's going on with the movies, and I don't know how the difference between how this show affects where the movie's going, or if the movie is completely in control of how the show is operated. Because I know they're in the same universe, same director, so I gotta imagine he wouldn't kind of pigeonhole himself here, or put himself into a corner where he couldn't write out of it, or he had bad ideas coming out. So what do you think, man? Like, do you like it being a prequel to the Batman series, basically a reboot of Gotham?
I am of two minds of this. First of all,
Okay.
and that depends on how they do it. But if this like is on HBO Max, so they're going to spend money. So people that are worried that it's going to be just like Gotham that was on Fox, I don't think you have to worry about that. The person who do you like Boardwalk Empire? Greg, did you ever watch that?
I hadn't watched that one yet. Me and my wife are going through a whole run of old shows right now, so
Well,
I'll get to it.
that's a really popular show, and Terrence Winter created that is in on this. So they got the person doing Boardwalk. So I think they could really do like a good period piece about this, just about it's not have nothing to do with superheroes. So if you're like jam is superheroes, sorry, this is not what this is. I think this is just like a couple like decades ahead of kind of like what he made with Boardwalk.
Hmm.
So just like kind of that kind of suspense, thriller, action, like all over the place, just hit show. And I'm really confident, especially with the episode count, because HBO doesn't like to do anything over 10 episodes. So I'm really confident that they can tell a normal, like cohesive story that people would draw people in. Usually they cut out the filler with that, and if anybody knows Gotham, it would just drag down so many times. There's so many characters that I just wish the first time they were on the screen was their last time. There are some good
Yeah.
performances like the Penguin, and I enjoyed the Riddler, and obviously Cameron Monaghan's uh, Joker was fantastic. But
Yeah.
when he was allowed to play an actual character, I don't want to talk about what he looked like at the end because that was pretty terrible.
It was definitely a different take. That's for sure. I mean, I don't know if they knew where they were going with that one. But yeah.
But like it says here, HBO Max says the series will be set in the world Reeves is creating for the Batman feature film and will build upon the motion picture's examination of the anatomy of corruption in Gotham City, ultimately launching a new Batman universe across multiple platforms. The
Yeah.
series provides an unprecedented opportunity to extend the world established in the movies and further explore the myriad of compelling and complex characters of Gotham. Now, see, this is where I'm worried. If it goes Agents of Shield route
Hmm.
and like doesn't have any of the characters, will it do well? I
Hmm.
don't think it will on a 20 something episode count, but maybe with 10 episodes, you can actually draw people in. Maybe we see a young Harvey Bullock starting off. Maybe that's how far back this goes.
I don't know, man. That was one of the other issues I had the other day talking about it was I don't know if they go that route where it's like Agents of Shield, where it's not a bad show, but you just can't really say the two are connected when there's really no connective tissue between the two at all other than name. I mean, a few like storylines they drop, I guess sometimes, but you never see any characters in there, which you would feel like you would. So it does bother me. I know Jeffrey Wright, who's playing Commissioner Gordon in the movies, is also playing Commissioner Gordon in the show. So that's a shining light because great actor, and
He's
I think
amazing.
I think he's going to nail that role. And it's cool to see him on both those. But that's the same way they did kind of Phil Coulson. Like that was a character that was in.
Well,
So I don't know if it's going to be that same kind
well,
of thing. So
Greg, if his total screen time in the movie is going to add up to how much uh, Wright is in the first Batman, because I think he's going to be in a lot more than we used to see Coulson.
you think so?
Oh yeah, and that's just one movie, I think. And I don't
Okay.
think he's gonna. If he's this is first of all, it shows like what happened to let Gotham get the way it was. So Commissioner
The
Gordon's
television
still gonna
series.
be
Yeah.
yeah. So still Commissioner Gordon's still gonna be able to be in the movies as well. That wasn't the case with Coulson. He got stabbed through the chest and then was brought to Tahiti. Oh my God. Just thinking about them saying that for a whole season drove me crazy. I jumped off of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at like season 4 or 5. Now, Brent says, from his tweets anyway, that it's like really going well for the final season, so I'm glad for them. They made 7 seasons. There's nothing joke about with that. But that's a complete tangent that we're off on right now.
Right.
So, Greg,
Well,
like, do you think it could be good, honestly, or no?
I mean, I'm not saying it can't be good. I'm gonna watch it, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of it that I'm enjoying. And you know what? These are the situations where if I'm gonna be eating crow, I have no problem at all.
Yeah.
Like I've eaten plenty of it in my life, and if this is one of those situations, that's cool. I want to be wrong about feeling skeptical about this, but I always go into these kind of things feeling a little skeptical. I don't think there's been any kind of casting or news that's really blown me away that I was so excited for in quite a while. So I mean, even when Affleck was cast as Batman, I wasn't very excited about that. So it just when I think about stuff like that, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give it a chance because it is in the Batman universe, and I think Travis Snell said it best. It's like pizza. Even bad pizza is still pizza. It's good. I'll still eat it, and that was a great comparison he said the other day to me. And it kind of is. So I'm gonna give it a chance. I don't like the idea of having a prequel to the Batman, just like we just had, but they can do a better job of it. It's going to be a different universe, and if it sets up, even though it's going to be after the movie, if it helps build that universe, in the movie, then okay, I'm cool with that, and that's awesome. Give me more of it. I'm just concerned about them worrying about building this universe up so big, and this universe is not going to be connected with the rest of the DCEU. That's what worries me.
I think this pretty much like just puts a notch over in that tally of it won't be connected to anything else. It'll be on its own.
It's like its own Batman universe, basically.
Yeah, that's basically what it seems like.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that might work. I mean, they're hitting on all cylinders right now, so.
Well, their news and what they're giving out is arguably their last movie was Birds of Prey, which I will say wasn't a box office hit.
It's one of the top selling movies of the year, though.
Oh yeah, like it's doing well.
I'm just saying because there's been hardly any movies this year.
That's true too. I never talked about that.
It was good. I'm not knocking it, but yeah.
Oh, I really enjoyed the movie as well. It's just maybe the rated R kind of prevented it from doing super well at box office, but that's a discussion for another day.
Mm-hmm. Well, you get into the Deadpool argument then. Would have been as good of a movie had it not been rated R.
Yeah.
You're right. That's a different discussion. But yeah, so I mean, like I said, it's Batman. I'm gonna see it. I'm really hoping it's done well. I don't think the actors are gonna do bad or anything. It's probably gonna be a solid story and everything. It's just not necessarily what I wanted, but I may really, really enjoy it. Just because I don't want it right now doesn't mean that when I start to see stuff on it, I'm not gonna completely change my mind because it could blow me away. I'm waiting for something to blow me away.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Boardwalk Empire, I probably think you should check this out because the same guy who created that is creating this, and there could be some similarities between the two.
Okay, I got to finish Community first, and after I finish Community,
Community's a fine show.
Yeah, it's
for 4
fantastic.
Seasons. For 4
fantastic. Me and my wife are halfway through it now. It's fantastic.
It gets there's a couple extra seasons that shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm sure it'll still be fine.
And stuff, but,
oh yeah.
And they pulled one of the funnier episodes of the whole series.
You told me about that.
But yeah.
Oh yeah. But this news, you got anything else you want to say about the Batman series?
No, I'm excited to see what they're going to give us.
This news kind of rolls into the second part of the news right here. I guess what we're talking about is I saw an article on Screen Rant, and it's about all 6 upcoming HBO DC TV shows for HBO Max, excuse me. And it kind of interested me. I'm not the best at figuring out what is completely true, but I did see this on some more reputable site. Can't remember what it was, a Business Insider. I'm not sure if that's really reputable, but either way, it's got 6 stories here, 6 shows here that are coming out, and I kind of want to see what your reaction is on them. One is Green Lantern, which we already knew.
I knew about that. I'm excited.
So next one is Strange Adventures.
Just one other thing. I don't think Diggle is going to be the Green Lantern.
No,
I just hate to disappoint people, but I really don't think that's possible. Who knows? Could be wrong.
Yeah.
I'd like to eat crow on that one, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I'd really enjoy that, but yeah, I don't think it's happening either. Sorry. So the next one is Strange Adventures.
Adam Strange.
It says Strange Adventures. HBO Max describes a project as cautionary tale set in a world where superpowers exist. This is one of the DC originals released. Didn't really give any information. Green Lantern is the only DC series that Berlanti's working on, so Berlanti's working on this one too.
He could be working on one of the other 4, right?
Do it.
Oh, never mind.
Next one is DC Superhero High.
Well, the Strange one is Adam Strange. I'm pretty confident, and I really enjoyed him in Krypton, so I'd love to see more. And I think this is more of a marketed to teens, like kind of like a drama that goes on CW. If I'm not mistaken? What is it called again?
The next one, oh, it's
Yeah.
called DC Superhero High. Comedy is also in the works with Elizabeth Banks producing. So Elizabeth Banks, she's somewhat comedic actress. I guess I haven't seen her executive producing anything, but I'm probably wrong about that. So yeah, this one looks like will be set in a boarding school for gifted children and will follow students dealing with ordinary teenage issues before they become known DC heroes. Hmm. Okay. So kind of like a Smallville type thing.
Yeah.
Sounds like something like that. Then
But multiple heroes in high school instead of just the one.
I never saw Smallville. I thought it was about a bunch of heroes in high school.
No, just one.
Just one? Okay.
Just Superman. Man, you haven't seen Smallville? It's really good.
I really haven't seen Smallville. No, no.
And
No.
I don't want to hate to burst your bubble, but she's been produced in 44 different things.
Oh wow. See, I didn't know that.
I think it's an animated show though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I think this next one might be an anime show. It's Aquaman King of Atlantis. Let's see. This is James Wan has more than one Aquaman project in the works. So James Wan is doing this. He's working on a Trench spinoff.
TV miniseries is what it says.
Okay. Follow Arthur's first outing as Aquaman and will help out Mira and Volko. Ocean Master is confirmed to appear in the series as well. No time. Wow. Okay. Sounds good. And
Animated. It's animated. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it looked animated just by the artwork for the title. So.
Yeah.
And then the last one is Justice League Dark, no, not the last one, but Justice League Dark. This one's going to be interesting. J.J. Abrams doing this one.
Yeah, I'm excited to see JJ's take on this. I wonder if he'll get his hands on any more DC characters. There's been rumors that some of these movies coming forward will be like part of building his Justice League Dark. Who knows? I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah.
Same thing, the animated Aquaman show. If it's bringing in miniseries, if it's bringing in cast from the movie, I mean, sign me up twice. I love animation. We do superhero discussions every Friday on Geek Ultimate Alliance Network.
Oh yeah.
And I'd just be excited to see what they choose, especially for animation style for this. James Wan, sign me up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%, man. Yeah. I mean, he definitely has that horror-esque effect, like that. I guess that kind of was what pushed off in the trench scene in Aquaman and what makes people want to have that movie. So, yeah, I'm all for more DC. Give me more. And you're getting me really into animated stuff, so I'm definitely into seeing some awesome animated stuff.
And I mean, Justice League Dark, come on. I'm just curious who he's going to pick for Constantine. We haven't seen a Constantine or heard of a Constantine, like, a voice outside of Matt Ryan in quite a while. He's played a character. I don't think anybody else has played a character besides him. I'm pretty confident. Not even voice.
Yeah, I mean, is that who you're wanting to be? Play the role in the future?
Well, I would like it more. He's kind of I just don't like it on Legends. He's more serious than what he's doing here. It's okay, but I just rather than not seeing him at all. But I'd love to see him on working with JJ.
Yeah, I think he could do really well. I mean, so you're right. We haven't seen him in anybody else play that role ever since he's taken it. So he is kind of etched in your mind as that character. It's like the first time you're going to see somebody else play Iron Man or Captain America or Wolverine. Yeah, it's just going to be weird. I mean, it'll work. I'm not saying they won't do a bad job, but it's just, something about it I guess it's what the kind of characters you grew up with or you first saw and, put in your mind. It's kind of like, I don't want to say Tobey Maguire, but the original Spider-Man suit, is always in my mind, from the first movie. That's my Spider-Man suit, live action. I don't know about you, but I love that thing.
I'm a big fan of both Andrew Garfield's and Tom Holland's Spider-Man suits.
Oh, okay.
I love them both. Yeah, more new style.
I hear you. Okay. That's MCU though. We're gonna get fined if we keep talking about that kind of stuff. But yeah, man. So there's a lot of shows coming out. And the last one, of course, is the Batman spinoff series, which we just spoke about before we got in here. But A lot of shows coming out on HBO Max. HBO Max is really going all in with DC here, and
Well,
it's
I
awesome.
think that is already proven with CW. You can build a network, you can build a service around DC content.
Hmm.
CW really hit highs with Flash and Arrow when Arrow first started. Now, like it's been low since I don't know the numbers for CW Seed, but even then, still, if you're putting HBO Max money and power behind DC shows, I'm sure they're going to be even better than the ones at the CW.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, you talk about the one on CW. They've been out for a lot of them been out for so long. I mean, eventually, if you don't change characters up and it's the same kind of thing throughout years, people are gonna start to get tired of it and want something fresh, something new. You know, much like what we're doing with Stargirl right now, which has come out and it's absolutely fantastic. But it's just nature of the beast. Not every show is going to run forever. Eventually, it's just going to run its course and it's time to go. So they've definitely built an entire franchise around DC content and DC characters, and it's worked out pretty well for them. But maybe all this stuff now, a new fresh take on everything, new characters, new stories, and on a different network is going to really, really be good for DC. I'm super excited for it.
I'm just excited for, I'm not going to lie, the most excited for a Green Lantern show. Every other show could not exist, and I would be so perfectly fine with it if I got the Green Lantern show. I want it. I want it now. I want it. I just want it.
Yeah, of all of those that we just listed off, yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I'd give up all of them for a good Green Lantern show. I think somebody put out a tweet the other day about giving up some kind of movies for Man of Steel 2, and I really had to think about it. It was like a whole list of movies, and I was like, I don't know. Some of those movies are really, really good, but I do want to see Man of Steel 2 really bad. No, it wasn't. It wasn't DC movies. I don't think. Okay. I think it was mostly MCU movies, but they were like really good, and I was like, I don't know. So. But yeah, man, that's about it for that news. We got a little bit more stuff that came out. You want to welcome into this one?
Yeah, well, Batwoman has found its new series lead with Javika Leslie. She's set to step into the cape, so to speak. She put out a little statement. I'm extremely proud to be the first black actress to play the iconic role of Batwoman on television. And as a bisexual woman, I am honored to join this groundbreaking show, which has been such a trailblazer for the LGBTQ community.
Yeah. I don't know anything about this actress at all. Just looking at her, though, sign me up. She looks like she's going to do a really, really good job. She looks motivated, especially that video you sent me. I love somebody who's motivated for doing this kind of thing. Who commits their time to it, does the physical aspect of everything, works out, gets trained, all that good stuff. Those are the best kind of actors for these roles, and she's already doing that kind of stuff. Fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. She was in God Friended Me, which Berlanti has his hands in as well.
Okay.
And so that kind of probably got her on his radar.
Okay.
I think I haven't seen much of what she's been in. I think I've seen her in the episode of MacGyver. Don't ask.
I was about to say MacGyver.
But I think she could be great. The issues that I had before she was cast are still there. I don't want her to play Ron Wilder.
But that's nothing to do with her. That's nothing to do with her.
I know. Oh, that's what I mean. I just talking about the show's choices.
I got you.
Her to play Kate Kane, because I don't want to throw away the relationships and all that they mean, just because Ruby Rose didn't want to do it anymore. So I don't think they're going to do that, and I'm going to come at this with an open mind. But it's gonna take a lot to win me over. If I'm won over, I will 100% admit it. I will say that choosing the Ryan Wilder path was the right path. But if I'm not gonna fire up a tweet storm about it either. Just gonna say one time I don't like it, and I'm out on Batwoman. But who knows?
So I know I've talked to you about this before on a bunch of different occasions and different platforms about this exact argument right here. And I'm wondering, I get what you're saying. If they brought in Ryan Wilder in replace of Kate Kane and just didn't say anything at all, just complete character change, do you think that's what they're going to do, or do you think they're going to have some kind of written in line explanation. And I know that we talked about before the roadie thing of I'm here, let's deal with it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like some kind of explanation about why.
They're gonna do the same thing that they did for Bruce Wayne, Greg.
Yeah.
Like just say, he's gone somewhere, and
Yeah.
they're gonna say the same thing about Kate. Oh, she's gone.
Yeah. I mean, see, but couldn't they? Would it salvage it a little bit if they did that? If they gave some kind of an explanation?
No,
No.
I
Okay.
would need Brian Wilder to be in a few episodes of season 1 for it to have been okay with me. But I think as you could even choose, like there's a couple of choices in the show that could take over. Uh, I guess, uh, but
Yeah.
that's not a go, and I'm gonna come at this with like enthusiasm, like I did. I learned my lesson with Stargirl, so I
Yeah.
will not
That's a
judge a
good point.
book by its cover, but I am hesitant with the choices they are making. I am, however, regardless of how the show does, happy for the actress, happy
Right.
that she's getting the chance, happy that she's going to get at least a couple-year contract because they're not going to do the same mistake of being letting her get out of her contract quickly, but she's going to get paid, and I'm happy that she got this work, and like I hope it goes well. I really do. I hope they win me over. Arrowverse has been pretty good to me, so
Yeah.
I mean, giddy up minus the last 3 seasons of The Flash.
I hear you. I hear you, man. Well, yeah, like you said, congratulations to her. I can't wait to see the portrayal of the role. I think she's gonna crush it from what I can tell, and yeah, excited to see it. When is it supposed to air? First episode with her in it?
Not for another full year. I think
Okay.
January 2021, maybe. Could be
Okay.
wrong with that.
Okay. So that's not. I mean, that's
But
half a year.
With COVID, everything is up in the air,
Right.
Greg. So I
Right.
don't know.
Go ahead and add 18 months to it, and then we'll call it that, right? Okay, cool. Well, that's really all the kind of news we had to talk about this week. Just putting that kind of stuff out there. We have a ton of show questions, though. Put out the beacon before the
Want to
show
thank our
started.
listeners yet again for helping us out here. We love taking listener questions, and I know we don't post it until the day of usually, but you guys always keep coming through. Legendary Bearded Greek Geek, looking at you. Thank you
Uh,
for retweeting it as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We got some great fans who give us some good questions here. So let's go ahead and get started with some of them, man. I'm gonna start out with Nick, and it's at I think Nico Caruso is what it looks like. Say I'm not good at pronouncing a lot of stuff. My English ain't very good. But first question he's asking, give me two guesses for the DC secret films being unveiled at DC Fandom. He says, what do you predict they will be, and what do you want them to be? So kind of a two-part question.
Ooh, what I think they will be is a Zatanna and another member of Justice League Dark, probably Constantine
Damn it.
movie. I think that
Okay.
both of those, because of Justice League Dark coming with JJ, I think
Mhm.
that you could get both of those as well as your new films, and I think people would be really excited about that. Uh, I would be, but
Yeah.
those wouldn't be the ones that I would want.
Okay.
What I would want would be Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 2 and Zack Snyder's
Mm.
Justice League Part 3. Or
Mm.
Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 2 and Ben Affleck's Batman movie.
Mm. Wow.
But
You had
I
better
don't
answers than
think
I did.
I don't think any of them are going to happen though, unfortunately. But those are the ones that I would want.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, those are all good, man. And honestly, with the Think, we both did the same thing. I did Zatanna and Constantine. I think that they're going to try to set up a big movie screen Justice League Dark, and those two good characters to get it going with. Of the two, I'd rather see a Zatanna movie, I think. You know, I like Constantine as a character, but I've never seen her on big screen at all. I know less about this character, so I'd like to learn more. So those are my two for the Think. And for the Want, I'm saying I'd like to see a solo Cyborg film.
Ooh,
I think
that's
it'd
a
be
good
really
one.
cool.
That's
And the
one
way
I
Ray
like to see as
Fisher's
well.
pushing right now, let me see a solo Cyborg film. And then the other one, I know this is never going to happen. Let me see a Blue Beetle and Booster Gold team up movie. That would be pretty fun. But
That would be pretty good too. I like that.
we're nowhere near that in the DCU right
No,
now.
we
And
couldn't even get
I'm
we couldn't even get Tig Cord to appear in DCCW.
right. So I don't think that's I don't think that's happening.
Just his
But
name teased like 18 times.
But that's it, man. That's all we got for those two. Let's go on to the next question here. Our homeboy, legendary bearded geek, he asked us if you were given a choice to make a Brave and the Bold live action series, what characters would you choose for your first team up? You want me to take this one, or you want to go?
You can go first.
Okay. See, further looking into this question, I realize he probably is more referring to the Brave and the Bold. It's an animated series, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably more likely what he's talking about, which I've never seen, but I've read some Brave and the Bold comics. So I just went with
just as good.
I went with the most recent run on Brave and the Bold comics that I've had, or I've watched, or not watched, but read, and that was the Brave and the Bold with see, I had it written down here. It had Batman, Wonder Woman, and I always have such a hard time pronouncing this guy's name. So in my mind, I look at it as Cernunnos, who's a Celtic god in this story. It's a tale of two different worlds. Wonder Woman's trying to save two worlds. Batman's doing some investigating. It's gods killing gods. It's a pretty fun run. It wasn't my favorite, but it was only a 6-issue series. So once I got like 3 into it, I was like, well, I might as well just go and get the last 3 and have the whole series and read them anyway. But that's really only the Brave and the Bold I know about right now, because I haven't read any prior Brave and the Bold comics before. I know they do different runs with them when they match up different characters, which is pretty cool. But that would be my guess, or my answer right there. It's the 2018. I had the author written down, but I thought I had it written down, but I guess I don't. That'd be my guess, or my answer.
Well, animated show, you say? I would have to. Personally, I always love Batman teaming up with Shazam in the show anyway. Really enjoyed. There's one episode specific, but really enjoyed that. I would choose the Flash as well, because that was always fun, and can't leave it Big Boy Blue. But
yeah,
it will be Shazam for me because I really enjoyed that so much. It was fantastic, Greg. They had the radio tower, and Shazam lightning bolt powered it up, and Batman was fighting on I want to say basically a rocket jetpack type deal, and just zany.
That would be pretty fun live action. That team up. I mean, it'd be almost like a Superman Batman team up. Shazam's similar to Superman power set wise.
Except he's a child.
Yeah, I know.
It would make Batman appreciate Superman so much more.
That is probably true. That's probably true. But let's see. Go back to the questions here. I don't know why. Oh yeah, the name was Liam Sharp, was the creator of that last run that I was talking about, the Brave and the Bold. All right, question 3 here is from our homeboy Nathan at Wally Boots 85, and I'll go with the first question he asked because he always has a 3-parter. He said, "Who would you like to see cast as Robin for Matt Reeves' third film? And in my opinion, he'll introduce in the trilogy, third film he'll introduce Robin." So he's saying there will be a Robin. I know you and I were kind of fishing around with this one because I don't really know.
I got one. I'm bringing the heat.
Okay, you go ahead. Bring the heat, man.
I think, first of all, Matt Reeves should do a Robin that has never been done before. Okay. A Robin that has never been in live action. And I think he should do Tim Drake. I think he should use Timothy Chalamet as Tim Drake. He's going to have to completely change his hair. But I would love to have him play Tim Drake. I'd love to see Tim Drake on the big screen. I'm a Dick Grayson fan, but I really enjoy what Brendan Thwaites is doing on Titans. I think he's probably my favorite character on that show.
Okay.
And I'm good with that level of Dick Grayson right now. And I'm enjoying the Jason Todd character on that show as well. And I'd rather see some Tim Drake. I think it'd be perfect and big name actor. Or you could just get any run-of-the-mill up-and-coming actor to play him. Not run-of-the-mill, but any up-and-coming actor to play him. He doesn't have to be a big name either. I'm just choosing a big name. But he could be somebody's first gig as well.
That's a pretty interesting take. I know, thinking about it like that, now then you would have a Dick Grayson, a Jason Todd, a Tim Drake, all cast in different areas, and if they opened up everything like they're talking about to be one multiverse where they could cross over, then you could at one point in time have all 3 of those characters on screen at one time.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy. Yeah, I was, like I said, I was floundering around for this one, so I just kind of looked up some popular names that the people are calling out for a Robin to be, and I don't know whether there's any kind of just people throwing names out there, I guess. And Josh Hutcherson, I thought would be pretty cool, from Hunger Games, the guy who played
Yeah.
PETA in Hunger Games. He's a good actor. He looks young enough, because I don't know why. I just feel like a Robin should be young, especially if you're going to have a Pattinson. Like, you got to imagine how he's playing. He's what, in his low 30s,
Yep.
so
I
he's
think
not a
about
very
32 or
old one.
something.
Yeah, so you're not going to want to really more than like a teenage or maybe 19, 20-year-old Robin, I wouldn't think. I mean, maybe he could go a different route and have one, but I always just picture Batman as being much older than Robin. And I
He's
guess you can always do it a
34.
different way. He's 34? Okay.
Yep.
Old ass. But I guess you can always do it a different way, but I think he'd do the role pretty well. It doesn't really matter to me which one he plays. I want to see a good Dick Grayson on screen, but only if it's going to go into a Nightwing one day. If they're going to, I don't want to see a Dick Grayson killed. Sorry, it's one thing I don't agree with some things, but you know,
It's all good, buddy. You don't have to agree
yeah,
with everything.
these directors are allowed to do whatever they feel is the best story, and most of the time they do a way better job than I would do. So, but yeah, that's one guy I'd put out there for it. His second question is top seven. Actually, before we go to the second question, let's go to the third part of it, and we'll knock out the second one after this. He says Mongol possessed 10 of the yellow rings and was the leader of the Sinestro Corps. With all of the power of the yellow element, did he rival Darkseid?
Do you want me to go first with this one?
Sure. Said you had something.
Have you rewatched Apocalypse War lately? Because he kind of took on the entire Green Lantern Corps and the Guardians, and he didn't take his hands from behind his back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, story bangle,
Don't think that.
Darkseid will destroy you,
Yeah.
and your pathetic yellow rings.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to agree. I actually wrote down here that I think that if there's ever a live action with it or any kind of animated, then no, I don't see it ever happening because I don't think you knock him off that tier of being the big bad, the baddest guy in there. There's nothing, not really a whole lot can stop him except for a miraculous thing by the Justice League, and even some situations they don't really beat him, they still get defeated. But I could see a story where maybe in the comics there was something written in where it worked out like that. Because I've seen comics of Doctor Doom ripping Thanos' spine out, in Marvel, and Thanos is supposed to be one of the biggest baddest in the Marvel universe. I know Doctor Doom is too. So I mean, you can get different takes on different things. So I think in a comic world, you could probably have like an Elseworlds comic where maybe something like that happened, but I don't think you'll ever see that on any kind of screen, animated or live action. So no. And then third part of his question is top 7 favorite villains, which is
You
odd.
could go with us for that, Greg.
Okay, and I'm not going to do these in any particular order. I'm just going to put the 7 out there. And number one's got to be Joss Whedon, right? Biggest villain of the DC universe. But I kid. I'll mark him off there. I still have 7 after that. But just right off the top, I love Zod. I love Lex Luthor. I love Deathstroke. I love Two-Face. I love Joker. I love Catwoman, and I love Darkseid. Like, those are all characters that when I read about them, when I see them, it appeals to me. I especially, and I know a lot of them are Batman characters because I read a lot more Batman and I'm more into Batman than just about anything else. So Joker, Catwoman, and Two-Face are 3 of my favorite villains of all time. They're probably my 3 favorite in that rogues gallery. So obviously they're going to be on this list. And then Deathstroke, I just did a whole book report on him, and he's always been a character I've loved. I mean, I've never seen a situation where every single version of this character I've seen is badass. As far as how it looks, I've never seen a bad version of what Deathstroke would look like as far as uniform goes. It's always awesome. Lex Luthor's a great mind, just amazing. It's actually a superpower that I think would be one fun to have, is a mind that big, because me with my little small mind, I don't think on that kind of level. So Lex Luthor always being 2 steps ahead. Zod, because Michael Shannon did it for me in Man of Steel. I love the way he played that role. The character's great. I'm not a big Superman guy. I'm not a big Superman reader, but just like when I think about awesome villains in the DC, he put that image in my head right there of Zod being a badass, and I love Zod for that. And then Darkseid, because he's the top dog. I mean, if I'm gonna pick a villain team, you can't pick it without picking the best ever. You can't pick it without picking LeBron of DC superheroes. So.
Did you just pick second or third best DC superhero? I'm sorry, I wasn't listening there for a second.
Hey, what about you, man?
Well, I gotta say, Nathan, I love this this was my favorite part of your questions.
Yeah.
Was this? Greg, we got some overlap. Lex Luthor for one. These first three are basically from animated.
Okay.
That maybe follow of them. Lex Luthor, Clancy Brown's voice is who I hear when I read Lex Luthor in comics. I loved his voice in animation. I love that he was in a lot of the DCAU. And did I ever enjoy it? He's cunning, his intellect. He's like just one of the smartest minds on Earth, and he always tries to go up against Superman, which you would think would be an impossible task. But sometimes he succeeds. He manages to not be traced back. He runs for president. The portrayal of Michael Rosenbaum was fantastic as Lex in a show you didn't see. But just love him. Love him. Like I said, Clancy Brown, I just can't stop saying it. Flash, DC alumni casting. Mr. Freeze, do I have to say more? Batman the Animated Series? Oh, wait, you haven't seen Batman the Animated Series?
Not yet, but
Greg,
you're talking up pretty good.
Heard a voice will make you soft. It will make you sad. The movie with Mr. Freeze is good. The animated portrayal, fantastic.
You said the movie with Mr. Freeze. You're talking about the animated movie with Mr.
Yeah,
Freeze?
the animated movie with Mr. Freeze as
I
well.
thought you were talking about Batman Forever.
No, not Batman and Robin you're thinking of.
Or Batman and Robin, yeah, I'm sorry.
A lot of ice puns. They took all the good work that was done in the animated series, and they took a big poop on that, Greg. Yeah. A big poop. Clayface. Yeah. I love Clayface. I've heard Brant from Fans for the Reporter say a couple times now that he's wanted to have Clayface in live action, and I'm right there with him. Yeah. I think that's something that would be pretty cool. And after seeing the Spider-Man Far From Home where he went against the elements, I'm pretty sure they could do Clayface CGI pretty well, and I would be really excited. And the way they told the story in Batman the Animated Series, I'm a sucker when you make me feel for the villains before they become villains. Mm-hmm. And just a great job telling that story, and got me introduced to me to the character. I thought he more than Bane was Batman's most difficult adversary from that lineup in the animated series. The fights may lead up and say otherwise, but I still think that was fantastic. It's going to be a couple from DCCW. Deathstroke. They got me in love with Deathstroke from this show. I love Manny Bennett. He was wicked. Deathstroke was great in Titans. Loved the portrayal there. One of the highlights of season 2, and I hope that he's not done with the show. I hope he comes back. But Manny Bennett will always be Deathstroke for me for the time being anyway.
Right.
Joe Manganiello, we're supposed to get something about him as well. Like, big live action supporter. He's been across a lot of animated as well, like Young Justice, Teen Titans, Jude's Contract, Teen Titans. Like, he's been up against him.
I was say, what did you think about Morales on Titans? His
loved it.
Yeah,
loved
okay.
it.
Yeah, I love that one too.
Loved both of them.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks that they brought Slade, Manny Bennett back for one episode in season 3 where they didn't do his character very much justice.
Right.
And he complained about that. And then they brought him back in season 6, and they righted that run. Well, the end of season 5 into season 6, and they righted that run. They gave him a storyline for the send-off, and it was great. The last shot is wicked as he walks into the smoke-filled alley, steam-filled alley. Great, but I always love that. Reverse Flash. Set Flash season 1.
Yeah, Reverse
Flash.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Great villain. Great in other stories like Flashpoint animated show as well. But Tom Cavanaugh
sells it. Yep. He's like Michael Zai with
just loved it. Very high level acting, bringing it to a lower budget avenue, but still like fantastic. Like if he gave that performance back, if this Flash show was never made and the movie was made, and he gave this performance, I'd say that he would be up there with Michael Shannon for praise for a character.
Yeah.
Now that we've seen him for so long, and the Men of Harry's, that kind of dumps it down a little bit for me, like in terms of overall. But First Flash season 1, fantastic. Like I said, and so much more animated stuff and so much more comic stuff. Just love him. Joker, Mark Hamill's voice comes from the same thing as Clayface and Mr. Freeze. Can't leave out Joker. Joker's movie's fantastic. Like, it's so much, but Joker great. And you said a lot of it. That's what I'm touching on him. And Darkseid. Because, like you said, he's Darkseid.
Yeah.
Loved him in Superman, the animated series. Loved him even more in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. And what he did for the New 52 DC universe that they did. Just bravo.
Oh, yeah.
He was the master behind everything. And behind so many of those movies, so much of the conflict. And what they did with Apocalypse War. I don't know when we'll see that again with animated movies, but just great. And those are my 7, Nathan.
I hear you. Well, there you go, man. All great villains. I don't think you can really go wrong with this, because I mean everybody would love their villain. That's why this kind of question is so fun, because you can't really be wrong. But it is nice to hear somebody either agree with you or say something different that you thought about, like, oh, that's a great idea, and then kind of give good reasoning for it. It's a very fun exercise. So, top 7 villains. Good job, Nathan. I appreciate it, man. Let's see. Move on to the next question.
Wait. How long do you think before Nathan probably already got that tweet sent to Marvel Alliance as well? He gave them the exact same question he gave us last week too. Just want to put it out there, Nathan. We're watching you, buddy. We see all. The DC Alliance sees all.
I hear you.
We love you, buddy. I'm just messing.
Oh yeah. All right. Next question's by Walt Gator. Tony Walton at Walt Gator. Awesome guy. Sends a lot of questions all the time, man. Appreciate it. And he says, if you had to be trained by one DC character, which character would it be, and would you use it for good or evil? I think I know your answer.
Batman.
Yeah.
Well, of course. Now, if you want me to leave Batman for you, I wouldn't mind being trained by Green Arrow.
Yeah, well, that's what I actually thought was going to be your answer, was Green Arrow.
Yeah,
for sure.
But Batman's a logical choice, Greg, because he's so much better. He's so good at everything. Like... if you're picking for practicality, and no, I would not use this for evil. I would use it for good. I'd like to think I would. Mine's
kind of murky with that one right there, but like obviously Batman is the answer that I think you're right. It's the most logical choice. And then just doing this research on Deathstroke, he'd be an awesome choice too. So either one of those guys, if you want some good hand-to-hand combat and genius, being smart, those 2 guys. But since I don't want to pick somebody like that, let's go with Constantine. Because I feel like Constantine could teach you some stuff that could really, really, you could benefit from. You could really, really use to your advantage. And as far as would I use it for good or evil, I would not use it for evil. I would be the same person I am today with powers. Meaning, if I drive by a burning building or a car that's crashed, I'm going to stop and see if I can help somebody in a situation of need. However, I'm not going to go out looking for it. That's my answer to it. So I'm not a bad guy, but I probably would just live my life the way I am, and I'd help out everywhere I could. Just saying, just being realistic about it. But
how long do you, so many questions. How long do you think you would last before you were on Twitter or TikTok or whatever? Someone videotaped me. When do you think your crazy ass government would get involved, asking you a lot of questions about your abilities? 3. Would you make a bottomless beer for me, and I will fly up there?
Of course. You don't have to fly, right? If I was Constantine, I'd learn how to do some kind of spell or cat my fingers, and you'd be here, so it'd be good to go. That's why that'd be a cool one to train from. But so there you go. That's his first question. He's the second one. He says, what are your ideal next 5 DC animated movies? He said, and would they be in the shared universe, or would they all be standalone Elseworld movies?
Well, Tony, this is a little preview for. We're going to record with Belga tomorrow. Okay. No, Wednesday.
Okay. I thought that was Wednesday. I was making sure, yeah.
Not sure what time yet, but we're going to talk about this kind of stuff. But I'll give you a little preview for my thoughts going forward. They're doing Man of Tomorrow. I'd love a Batman in this, because there's a picture of, there's a little picture that one of the stills that was released is a picture on a table of Batman. Some sort of journalist probably investigating him, and Clark sees it, or just a little Easter egg. But I would like a movie but just focused on him, like a movie just focused on Martian Manhunter, who we see in The Man of Tomorrow. Find out his whole deal of how he got there, go back to his planet, see his origin. Give me a Wonder Woman movie, because Wonder Woman Bloodlines left such a bad taste in my mouth. Mainly just as much for placement as quality of movie, even though quality of movie is pretty bad too, but they shouldn't have placed it as the movie before Apocalypse War. This should have been right after Justice League War, the first movie, or right after Justice League Throne of Atlantis. Either or, like it should have been the same time as like we got a first Batman movie. And The Flash, show us the guy who reset the timeline, and then bring them all together for a Justice League movie.
Yeah, I mean that seems like the obvious choice of ways to go there, right? Like, what else would you build towards other than introducing the main
Well, you could just
character?
do standalone movies too, right? You don't have to. You could tell like Metal. You could tell Deceased. You could tell a few different like Kingdom Come. You could tell a lot of popular story arcs.
It's funny that you say that, because that is the exact direction that I went with mine. All 5 of my movies are 5 standalone movies, have nothing to do with the connected universe that's happened so far. I just went through storylines that were some of my favorite stories that I would love to see an animated version of, because I know Flashpoint's a great book, and it's almost a direct adaptation onto the animated movie. There are some changes, which is fine, but for the most part, it's almost word for word, page for page. Like, you can look at the page in the book and then look at the screen and see the exact same thing happening, same words happening. It's cool to see stuff like that. Of course, slight variations, but I'd love to see an Identity Crisis animated movie. One of my all-time favorite comics. Love that comic. I'd love to see a take on Batman Who Laughs, because if you haven't had a chance to check that comic out, it's a pretty good one. I'd love to see this is one of my personal favorites too. I don't know why. I have the first and the second series of it is Batman and Ninja Turtles team up.
Ooh.
Awesome comic book, really, really fun.
There is an animated movie with that. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I guess so I have 7 on here.
Well, there's a part 2. There's supposed to be a second part at the end of
Okay. Well, I'll scratch that one off there. I'd love to see a White Knight, because White Knight was a great story. Have you read that one yet, Travis?
No.
Oh, it's a great story. Really, really good one. And then you actually mentioned a minute ago Dark Knight's Metal. I think that'd be a really, really cool storyline. You could do a lot of different stories with that. And then, of course, one of my favorites also is I'll replace Batman Turtles with that one, is a Court of Owls movie. Just based on the story. I think when me and Travis talk about anything that Snyder touches with Batman is amazing. So those are where a lot of my favorite newer stories come from. But I'd love to see some of that stuff animated and in its own movie. So, like I said, I kind of went a totally different direction than you. I'm doing 6 or 5 standalone movies, have nothing to do with anything else. Just give me this animated, and I want to see it. So, there we go.
Not bad, nobody. Not bad.
Yeah. All right. And we have one more question. And, man, this one is the toughest question, I think, of the night. Mainly because I don't think you or I are well-versed in this category. But Clayton, Fanboy Clay, asked us, with the wild success of manga to anime is uncanny. He said, should American comics be treated the same? We have plenty of animated movies, but what if the energy and success worked with DC or Marvel? Could we have longer-lasting animated series, or does it just not work? Okay, couple things to this question. I know I'm not big into anime. I can watch it. I have no problem with it. I've just never really gotten into it. My daughter, however, she's 13, is completely into anime. Loves it. Loves reading it. Loves watching it. She could rival just about anybody I know, at least as far as I understand, about knowledge about this kind of stuff. So she was actually watching something today, and she was talking about the difference in how she loved Avatar: The Last Airbender, the animated show, and she loves it so much. But she's watching the movies, and she tells me how it just doesn't translate from the animated to the live action. And I think that, I know I'm getting a little stray from the question, but it all comes back to it. I think that has something to do with maybe the difference in what we would call, I guess, quotes, American superhero or American comics and anything in like manga, because I think manga is more, the reason why they have more success with being animated is because those are better portrayed animated. I don't think you could do a live action version of some of those and do it complete justice. Not to say it couldn't be good, but you couldn't do it as much justice. Whereas I feel like more American comics are easier to portray live action because it's more just people in costumes. It's not as much special effects and beasts and things like that. I mean, there are stuff like that, and nowadays you can do anything with computer graphics. But I think that it also comes from a culture where animated movies are more appreciated. Just the way I feel. I mean, it may not be like that. I'm not basing it off anything except for it being more popular, but I feel like that may be why it wouldn't work as much here in America, the animated push, because I'm 35 years old and I just started watching animated stuff. I love it, but I wasn't drawn to it to begin with until somebody like Travis and Nathan and people pulled me into it, told me, hey, you need to check this out. Once I did, I loved it. But I think most people go into it, general audience, with my mindset. Even if you're a fan of this genre with the American superhero, American comics, you're not going to take your time out to watch these movies unless you have a good reason to. Somebody asks you to, or it's just a story you absolutely love, and for some reason you want to give an animated a chance. But I don't think most people look at animated stuff and want to tackle that. So no, I don't think that in America it would work as well because we were more focused on live action, big screen superheroes, and people want to see that. But I don't think it's unsuccessful because, in my opinion, DC's dominates the on page and on animated, on the small screen, live action on the small screen, animated on TV or animated movies and comic books. I think DC tops that. Marvel has done a great job with their movies, and I think they in the box office they kind of rule the box office right now. But I think that I think there are animated series out there that are successful with American comics, I guess is what we'll call it. I mean, aren't there, Travis? You're a bigger animated guy than I am. I know that some of them only run for 1 or 2 seasons, but there are some that run for 5, 6 seasons, right? Which I feel like is a success.
Not many.
No?
Clay's
Okay.
time here is pretty spot on in terms of, like, you don't get 5, 6, 7 seasons of like most.
Okay.
Like Dragon Ball Z has 10 or 11, I'm thinking, and then it goes off. Before that was Dragon Ball, and ahead of that was Dragon Ball GT, and then like there's several we'll say. Just for example, I watched Dragon Ball Z myself. I watched some Monster Rancher and some One Piece. I think I have a little bit limited manga and anime background, but I do enjoy it. There's some stuff like budgets are concerned for the animated shows here. Like you can just look even back in the 90s, you can look at the X-Men, the animated series, and see that the final season of that was poop. The animation, it was really bad. It really hurts the legacy of the show to have that 5th season. I'd even love if Disney Plus animated it like the way it was before and fixed it, because it is pretty terrible. That would be amazing.
I just feel like some things are better animated than they are live action. While they'd be cool live action, you can just do it more justice in an animated show than you can live action type deal. And I feel like a lot of anime is like that, where it's better animated. Because I know I was dropping my daughter off at my sister-in-law's the other day, and one of my nephews was watching an animated movie, and he asked me if I'd ever seen it, and I was like, no, and I was wrapped up in it, and my wife had to pull me away to get me to leave. So it's very interesting stuff. I've just never really had a chance to watch a lot of it.
It's good, Greg. It's really good. Like, I'll just, even for example, I'm sure do you remember the X-Men, the animated series intro?
I do, yeah.
Well, the Japanese version of that is bonkers awesome.
You're talking about the music, right?
Nope, the whole thing.
Oh, the whole thing? Oh, I don't remember like the way it looked necessarily. I remember some parts
the way
of it,
the comparison of the way it looks is night and day different.
Really?
Yeah, it's way better.
Maybe they just devote more time to animation. Like I said, I think it's more popular in their culture to animated movies and animated shows, which is awesome. I mean, the really good stuff. But I don't know. Like I guess he's kind of asking, like he said, could we have longer lasting animation? I think that the proof's kind of in the pudding. There are a few, but not many that last very long.
Like we should have had 8 seasons of Justice League Unlimited. We should have had 4 or 5 seasons of Justice League. We should have had more than 3 seasons of Superman the Animated Series. We should have had more. Like they left on the cliffhanger in Spider-Man the Animated Series. It's just.
Do you think that these aren't succeeding because of ratings?
Ratings, how much money you gotta spend to animate it, the fact that they use foreign animators, and you gotta you can't work closely with them. you got to have everything in and ready and sent to him, and you don't know when you're getting it back at times. That's what it was like back then with these.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. I'm a big proponent in Disney Plus should have a lot more new animated shows from Marvel, and DC should do the same with HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that we get longer seasons. I hope that Harley Quinn lasts 5 or 6 seasons. Animation don't get nearly the love it should.
Yeah.
And same thing goes with anime.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that we're gonna get more stuff on HBO Max with animated shows.
So,
I mean,
buddy.
this Harley Quinn's been a pretty big success so far, from what I understand,
Yeah.
right? So I think that it should walk you into having a little more success, but we'll see. Maybe they start listening to the superhero discussions. They want to put more animated stuff out there. I know
Hope so, buddy.
it
Hope
always
so.
makes me want to watch more animated stuff. Let me tell you. But that's all the questions, man. Wow, rocked through them. That was a whole lot. So now we just got. I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and we're right at 1 hour in. Let's go ahead and take a break right now. We'll do a 30-second ad. Y'all bear with us. We'll be right back. This helps us keep the show going. So let's go. And we're back. All right. So that is the news and the questions for the evening. So all we got left tonight is talk about some Stargirl, talk about some Doom Patrol, and then we'll close up shop and get out of here. So before we get started, Stargirl, man, what did you think of this week's episode?
Oh, Greg, it just keeps getting better and better. Like, the episodes keep being solid. That's what I mean by better and better. Like, there's no lull.
Mm-hmm.
I love this episode. This whole season is basically just like a walking theme of, do you follow in your parents' footsteps or do you forge your own path?
Right.
And I love it, and I love us focusing on Henry in this episode,
Mhm.
and I really enjoy him like figuring out his powers. That's my like high level thoughts.
I hear you. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm really enjoying the series. I know that this week I was looking for it, and I was like, all right, we've had two pretty big battles the last two episodes. I don't know if we're going to have one this one or not, but I was looking for it the whole time, and there wasn't a big battle in this episode, but I still really enjoyed it. I don't necessarily say it was my favorite of the series so far, but the show is holding up well. It's got me interested. It's one of those shows where even though, like I said, I was kind of looking for a battle because I enjoy seeing that kind of stuff, I didn't see it this time, but I was still the whole time interested in what happened next. Like, what's going to happen next? Oh, no, where's this going type thing, because they put that little bit of suspense in there for you. It's a fun show, man. I'm really glad that Katie got us into it, because I probably wouldn't even have given it a chance otherwise, to be truly honest with you. And I'm glad that I did. So that goes to show you that, I don't really know what I'm going to like until I see it. So you might as well just give everything a chance.
Well, I was going in with not high expectations, and they were blown away. But it was a CW DC show, so I was going to give it an honest look.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Like you said, there wasn't much action in this episode, but it didn't need to be. There was a lot of tension. They focused on Henry a lot, and I love that. We got a nice little picture of a Green Arrow, so that's the second Green Arrow.
Yeah. Green Arrow and Speedy.
Justin Hartley, yep.
And Speedy,
Seven Soldiers of Victory.
Mm-hmm.
Thought that was awesome. Nice little
That was
nod.
pretty cool.
Maybe we might see them come back again sometime.
Well, you're going to see one of them come back again.
Well, yeah, tonight.
So, but
Shining Night.
that's right. But yeah, man, let's get into it then. Let's just talk about the episode. I loved how it started out with the flashback of Brainwave, where it's basically showing how he developed his powers and what it's something he brought on himself. He developed these and he learned to master them, and it's pretty cool. You get to see him do the first time he's really been able to use them, and I mean, it's not cool that he killed that guy, but
Well, that guy was going to kill him, so I don't want to. He was actually going to kill him in his thoughts.
Yeah, that's true. I guess you can read his mind. He did know. It wasn't a matter of wondering. He knew.
Yeah.
But it was cool how he learned how he manifested his powers then, and you could see from that moment where he makes the tape for day one, he starts recording every day then his progress and what's going on. And I liked how they show you him starting to film that, and then it flashed forward straight to Henry finding these tapes, and like it cuts off the tape a few seconds into it, and then he puts it in, and you catch right back up on that same tape, find out where it's going. It's pretty cool. I like the explanation of it, and it's an interesting way for Henry to find out. Imagine if you every question you had about this, you had chronicled on a tape that you could. By the way, he's watching VHSs. who still has a VCR in their house, especially when you're that rich. But
I
he
have
had
some
one.
VHSs, but not a VCR.
Yeah, exactly. They're like giving away at pawn shops here. It's crazy. But I thought that was pretty cool how they walk the show in like that. You get to see the origin of Brainwave, basically. So,
I love that as well, Greg. I love how Henry goes through the tapes. It's almost like training for him.
mhm.
Like he's doing the things that his father's talking about in the tapes, and like
Even down to the same
clearly,
kind of soda can and everything.
yeah. And the moving multiple items, he was moving all the tapes around in the air. Just great. Uh, I felt bad for Sydney. She has it very rough with the Dragon King as her father. Like he gassed her to sleep, and he was like she liked that when she was a kid.
Yeah, oh, I agree. It must have definitely been a rough childhood, but at the same time, she's kind of a bitch. But maybe that's why
That's
she's
why.
such a
That's
bitch.
probably why.
So I mean, I guess there is always a reason for that, but I don't know, man. I mean, I guess they've drawn me up to hate this character so much that when I see something like that, I don't feel as bad. Even though when you look at it you step back and you look at it from a bigger point of view, you're right. It's terrible. It's probably the reason why she is, which may be the reason why she would ever decide to turn one day. I doubt it, but
That's true.
I
There's a
mean,
very
puts
good
it out there.
possibility for that. Uh, Ultimately, Courtney wants to recruit Henry to the JSA,
Hmm.
and it's obviously met with resistance, especially from Yolanda, considering what Henry supposedly done. I think it was Sydney who did that,
Hmm.
and Henry just had to take the fall for it. I think that's
See,
exactly what happened.
I thought that until later on this episode. Just skipping ahead real quick, that Yolanda does confront him in the hospital as Wildcat, and he says, "You're this mad at me for what I did to you."
No, he said, "You think I deserve to die for what I did to you."
For what I did to you. Okay, yeah, but why would he say for what I did to you if he didn't do
But
it? So
that's what
it made me think. I was like,
then he went towards her and was like, "Yolanda," and she took off. So I think
true.
he was going to explain himself. And just a couple episodes before, Dr. Ito wrote Brainwave's father a letter
Mm,
that said that his daughter was going to watch over him, like his son.
yeah.
So I think that was perfect time for her to do to separate him from his girlfriend so she could be even closer.
Oh, that's a good point, I guess. Yeah, if she was just coming in there, yeah, okay, it makes sense. I'll buy that.
And
Um,
I think that'll be revealed to us at some point.
yeah, there's gonna be a couple reveals that I'm waiting for, man. Like I'm waiting to see the Dragon King's face because you're going to.
Oh
You don't
yeah.
make that comment about me not removing my mask and not see it, and you've seen more of him lately than before, or earlier in the episode.
Well,
So
we get him sitting down with the ISA. What do you think about that?
I thought that was pretty cool. I think it's weird that like even Sportsmaster and Tigress, it looks like maybe just them, but I don't know if the whole ISA feels like that, other than maybe Icicle, that they feel like he's kind of an outcast.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I think that the only one that doesn't feel like that is Icicle, really.
yeah, like maybe he sees his true value, but they all look at him as like, well, you're here, but you're not part of this team type deal.
Yeah,
Is
like you
almost
don't
what it
go out.
feels like. Hmm. But I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm sure that if you really wanted to, you could probably take care of
I
Sportsmaster.
don't
I'm sure.
trust him, Greg. I think that when they get
Sportsmaster.
no, Dr. Ito. I think that when
Okay.
they get the project New America up and running, I think whatever he's working on, I think it's not going to go the way Icicle wants. I think it's going to go the way Dr. Ito wants.
Hmm.
I think he might double
Possible.
cross him. Yeah.
It's very possible. I mean, there's probably a reason why he's like friend of the family instead of being member of the gang
Yeah.
type deal. You know?
And they also
Uh,
mentioned that he was portrayed earlier. He said, Dr. Ito said, "I will not betray you." Like, I can't remember who now, but he said somebody early in the season. So
yeah,
I
it was
think
yeah, I know who you're talking about. It was the
the
one who got killed. I
wizard.
could go back. No, it wasn't the wizard. It was one of the ones who wasn't introduced. He was on the wall,
Yeah, and wow,
but you
yeah.
never met him. Yeah. So I'm not sure, but I know Courtney and Pat are talking about recruiting Henry, and Courtney really wants to, and that's that scene where he shows her the seven soldiers of victory, which is pretty cool because and she even says there's 8 people there, and he's like, yeah, the name was always an argument, always a big debate. But you got to see a lot of cool characters. You got to see what she calls Robin Hood, which I'm assuming is Green Arrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Shining Knight, Starman, Stripesy, Vigilante, Crimson Avenger, which I'm pretty sure is Speedy,
Yeah.
right? And then Wing was the last character. But it doesn't ever say that he did bring up a good point when he was talking about them, that it doesn't ever mention anything about any of them being killed. He says, I lost touch with them years ago.
Yeah.
But he never says any of them were killed, which is pretty cool that could be something that comes into play later. I mean, we know at least with Shining Knight it's going to. Which, by the way, what do you think about that scene where he's mopping the floor and all of a sudden his mop becomes the cosmic staff?
I don't know what's up with that, Greg.
Yeah.
I think that he's a few marbles short, maybe. He's probably been through some stuff.
I just don't know what's going on with the character. I mean, they drop you these little bitty clues here and there. You've seen him pull the sword out one time and use it and save Courtney, but other than that, he's just not there. I'm wondering, when is he going to become a bigger part of the show, or is he? Like, is he just always going to be one of those background characters that you don't see much of?
I think he'll eventually end up being a big part. I thought something that was really terrible was Henry having to listen to all the voices in the hospital.
Yeah, he even talks about that. Yeah.
People saying awful things. Like, that was such a great little performance. Really enjoyed that. And the first chat with Henry and Courtney does not go well.
No, it doesn't. And it surprised me. The first chat with him, she just basically talks to him like he's knowing all this stuff, but I guess he can read her mind. Yeah. And she's just like, I did this to your dad. And that was a bold move, I felt, to walk in there and basically just first thing she says is, I did this to him.
Yeah, with no staff.
Yeah. Like, I felt like that was pretty bold, but I mean, she did it, and now the cat's out of the bag, at least that, as far as that goes. Of course, he would have known it anyway, reading minds. But it was a very interesting scene, and I thought Henry was going to go off on her there. It looked like he was for a little bit, but she offered the invitation to come talk anytime, so that's why I think that he may not be a bad guy in the end.
Something not helping them, like we talked about earlier, was Yolanda visiting and getting physical with him.
Right.
Like, very, very funny.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
What did you think about the grandparents again, of the parents of Icicle? They are some greasy, like, talking in Norwegian, saying, like, the girl's a problem. And
they're very insightful.
Grace.
Yeah. Very, very insightful. Like, they pick up on these kind of things. And you can tell, I guess that's probably what it seems like he maybe has them around for. I mean, obviously they're his parents, but what he uses them for most is that, because who else brings their parents to a meal like that? That he's kind of using them to get information, to gather information. So they're going to play a huge role, I think, with something.
I did not expect to see them. I expected just to see him and his son. That's it.
What did you think about Mike, her little brother? Dude, I was so mad whenever, even though it's what's his name, Jordan is his name, Icicle.
Yeah.
Even though it's him, and you're not supposed to like the character, and he was like, "Oh, I'll take another helping of that," and then Mike just grabs the bowl. He's like, "Oh, there's no more left," and grabs the last bite. Man, I would have wrung my kid's neck if he'd done something like that. Oh my gosh, that kid gets away with so much. I don't know what's gonna happen in the future.
That was good though, Greg, because it led Courtney to figuring out that Jordan was Icicle. Because
that seemed like kind of a rookie mistake, didn't it?
Well, I don't think he's first of all, he's not used to being in this kind of setting with his family and another family, and you can obviously tell that he is infatuated with Barbara.
Yeah.
So,
do you think he knows about Courtney?
I don't know if he knows or not.
I don't know if he does either, especially the way they kind of let it off in this episode. They kind of made you think for a second that he might have. And then they throw you.
That was pretty ingenious how she figured out who he was too.
Oh yeah.
Because like, she put that together pretty quickly, and that was great.
Well, it was jumping to a pretty big conclusion, to be honest with you. But I mean, it worked out well in her favor. They definitely are right. They don't know it yet that they're right, but they definitely have suspicion now. So. And
that leads us to the big part where Barbara finally walks in on Courtney with the staff, Courtney and Pat.
Yeah, because Pat's been trying to tell her earlier in the episode, and Courtney wouldn't let her. So I'm interested to see where that's going to go, because they didn't.
I think that's going to be a giant blow up.
Think so?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the moment where you find out who her dad really is.
Maybe, yeah.
Whether it's actually Sylvester or not, you're going to find out who it is, because like I said, they still haven't told you. They've hinted both directions, but you don't know for sure. And then how about Henry in the at the very end, when he's in the his dad's room and that lawyer comes in? That lawyer's basically trying to run a scam on him to get his money. And I guess it's not good to have somebody that can read your mind. Of course, I'm sure he didn't know that, but it's not good to have somebody that can read your mind and you kind of talking about in your own head about how you need this money and you're trying to sign this paperwork. And I think it kind of worked the same kind of way that Brainwaves did, or I can't remember his name, where he didn't mean to kill the guy, he just did, you know. And maybe he's discovering more of his power there, and he learned what his limits are because he definitely killed that guy, even though it didn't seem like a seizure. He was bleeding from his mouth, bleeding from his nose, bleeding from his eyes, like he made his brain explode.
Well, he could have even stronger powers than his father.
It's true. It's true because go ahead.
Sorry, and his father wakes up at the end of this episode.
Yeah. And you're right. He may have stronger powers because even Dr. Ito was talking about how we don't need Brainwave to wake up anymore because that was what they were waiting on, was for him to wake up to power the machine. And now they don't need it, because they have his son. So
the main question is, will Brainwave remember who? Well, actually, that's not the main question because Henry knows that Court is Stargirl, so you just fill his father in. So that'll be really interesting. Maybe he doesn't have his powers though. That'll be very curious to see what happens to him when he next episode.
Do you think it's interesting that what's her name? Cindy knows who Stargirl is, and
I think it's really
the ISA still doesn't.
I think she's going to hold that as a way to get on the council.
Makes sense.
The table.
Very well could be. Yeah, it's super interesting, man, how it's going to turn out, because I want to see what happens with the Barbara situation. Because it feels like she should have known already, and they were going to tell her a bunch of times, but it's just never ended up working out like that. And now you're kind of caught dead to rights in the basement. So what can you do? But yeah, the biggest thing, like you said, Brainwave wakes up at the end, which I didn't expect. Like I didn't know if he was going to wake up at all this series, but now that throws another wrench in the story, because I don't know what that's going to play into. Because he woke up and he asked him, "What is he doing?" Almost as though he was surprised about what's going on. Do you think maybe he's going to have some kind of loss of powers or memory?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think that he'll be working with his son and honing his skills, would be my guess.
Okay. Well, we will find out in the future, because that was about all this episode out there. It was a great episode, man. I'm really enjoying this. Yeah.
There's only 3 episodes left. 4.
Yeah,
10, 11, 12, and 13.
13, yeah. And we're on that was number 8. Yep. So there you go. Yeah, man, we're getting to it, dude. It's coming down to the wire. I'm interested to see some resolution here, find out what's going on. But I have a good feeling that in the last 2 or 3 episodes, you're really going to have a lot of questions answered. So.
Same.
But all right, cool. Let's move on to Finger Patrol then, man. And Doom Patrol, Season 2, Episode 5, Finger Patrol. This one's another crazy episode by Doom Patrol. This is the one that I've actually watched twice, because I watched it Friday for the Super Civil Servants, and then I actually just had some time and watched it again today. And I appreciate it even more today when I knew what to expect. I got to watch it again and look for different things. So this show's got some pretty deep stuff to it, and I enjoyed it. Talk about the start. Well, let's just go do it like I did last time. We'll talk about how we liked it overall, and then we'll go walk into it. So, what do you think of it overall, man? Is the show getting better for you, or is it just kind of staying the same?
It just stays on the same crazy level.
Okay.
I enjoyed this episode a lot. I enjoy Cyborg and Cliff together. I love that pairing. I think they're rather funny together. I thought that Baby Doll and Dorothy were a pair that I thought would work, but I was wrong. And Rita and Larry, oh, poor Larry. Poor Larry.
Yeah.
So I'll say. We'll get into that, but poor Larry.
Always poor Larry, man. Always.
Even worse, though. Poor Larry.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, same way for me, man. This one didn't blow me away, but, well, I can't say that. The last 5 minutes of this one blew me away. But other than that, man, it was well told. It was a good story episode. I did not like it. I liked the beats that it hit and how it progressed the story along. I'm still, and we talked about this Friday, I'm still not sure on the meaning of this season as much so, because last season there was a big villain you're working towards, and the big villain. This one they really haven't pronounced that very much. I have an idea of who the big villain might be based on especially the end of this episode, but it hasn't been a situation where they've needed to work together as a team to defeat a big villain. It's been more character building for each individual character in pairs, and maybe that may change because this is only episode 5. So, they got plenty of time to continue. Because how how many 11 episodes?
9 or 10, I think 9, maybe could be
I
10.
thought they filmed 11, or they had 11, but they couldn't film the 11th
I
one
think
or
it was
something
10.
like that. Was what I heard. Yeah.
10 maybe.
Okay. So yeah. Either way, they're about halfway done. So I mean, you could see a character coming up in the future that could be a big bad, and based on the end of the way this goes, and
9.
what Chris Balga told me, 9. Okay, so maybe it was supposed to be 10. They could only film 9, something like that. But I can't remember. But I'm interested to see what happened based on this episode. So let's walk into it, man. And one thing that bothered me is what sandwich shop do you walk into where they have stacks of sandwiches just on a table and you just go grab 2 off the top and walk over and start eating? Have you ever been to a place like that?
Dream in my dreams, maybe.
Like I have no idea. I mean, those subs look great and I want one, but just couldn't believe it. And that was actually cool.
That was your first clue that it was a dream, actually.
Oh, that's actually a good point. I didn't think about that because it was a dream, and pretty cool dream. You know, at least pretty cool looking from my point of view because I'm not actually there. But him and his girlfriend both have the cannons, which reminded me. Have you seen the picture of the cyborg from Doom Patrol and Ray Fisher cyborg standing side by side holding the cannons up?
Yes, I've been seeing the love that both of them are showing each other on Twitter as well.
Yeah, it looks awesome, man. Awesome looking picture. I saw it the other day. I was like, oh, that's awesome. But yeah. He's doing his dream where he's having his nightmare, and Cliff wakes him up by looking for his tape because he's looking for the tape of. He has the recording of Chief talking about everything he did to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, that's Cliff. He's always got some kind of mission he's going on, and he doesn't give a damn about anybody else. So, let's see. I wanted to ask you.
Are sex ghosts a permanent thing now?
I don't know because he seems like they're. It says sex ghosts are the new normal.
Yeah.
And we only saw one. So maybe it's just that one, like a house pet.
But we've seen. Will they keep appearing for the rest of this season now? I'm really curious about that.
It'd be pretty funny to tell if they did. I'm sure they probably would do something like that. I wanted to ask you, whenever Jane's talking to Niles and she talks about the stuff Josh Clay gave her is gone, is that the drug she was taking from last season? Okay, that's what I thought it was. But the name Josh Clay didn't ring a bell to me, so I may have just forgotten that name.
Yeah.
Man, she's such a great actress.
Oh, fantastic!
So
when she's there for these sessions and stuff, she nails it, Greg. She nails it.
And she's been putting out some pretty cool stuff on Twitter too lately, man. And did you see the other day? Well, did you see the other day that she said that her next thing she would like to work on is Jessica Cruz? That'd be awesome. I could see that, and I would definitely promote that. Like 100%, she'd be awesome in that role.
Maybe she might get in the Lantern show at some point.
Maybe that'd be pretty cool. But you know. Jane's kind of realizing that she messed up with the pill thing. And they're always talking about it's not about me, it's about her, it's about the girl. They especially hit that like 3 or 4 times in this episode about the girl. And I think, from what I'm understanding, is that the original one that was the primary that went down the well? Yeah. And that was, I guess, her going down the well was what happened to her when she was younger? Yeah. She developed these. Okay. Yeah. We talked about that on Friday, but I wasn't sure I completely understood that. But I guess I did, if that's kind of what I was thinking. So it's an interesting Niles and Baby Doll connection, too. It's almost like a father and a baby girl.
Yeah.
You know? So I always thought that was crazy.
It's easy to tell Dorothy would get jealous of that.
Oh, yeah. And that must have been what sparked things, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because I was thinking about it, and I was trying to look at it today and try to figure out where this little scuffle they had started.
It was when they were spinning around, and then she got to look at her friends, and she scared away the first friend.
Yeah, I had it written down. I can't remember his name, but yeah. Well, and that's my thing too. Is she said you had to be polite. She wasn't rude. Like she didn't do anything polite. All she did was try to pet it, right? And it got scared away.
Well, she had that wasn't polite, I guess, but it was a little weird. You're right, Greg.
Yeah, and then there's the other scene where they're making a sandwich, and it's actually Jane in there, and she changes to Baby Doll. And is it what Niles says to Dorothy that makes her become angry? Because I couldn't figure out what it was. Like, she just becomes Baby Doll, and she's angry all of a sudden about whatever Niles is saying to her.
No, I think she figured out that, well, Niles said that Dorothy was taking a nap, and that she was all tired out from the play, and she was not to be disturbed. And she knew that he was lying.
Okay.
So she was waiting in her bed, and then,
And then when she saw her making the sandwich, that was when she got pissed off. Okay, that makes sense. Let's see. I thought it was cool that Baby Doll and Dorothy were putting stickers on Cliff and Cyborg.
Really funny.
Yeah, that was but it actually brought up a good point because Cyborg was talking about the fuzzy ones are hard to take off, and that's where Cliff asked him, you know, do you feel the difference, you know, fuzzy and soft and stuff like that. And he does a great job kind of describing what it'd be like to know something but not know something in
Yeah,
this episode, where he's talking about feeling the raindrops, like he can
I
remember it,
understand. Yeah.
but he can't like remember what it feels like type thing. Same thing with his wife's hair, like, and you know, Sarah brought that the other day. Like that's a great, that what a terrible, terrible, terrible thing to have, where you feel like you're losing the entire sense of touch. You know,
Yeah.
and I know it'd be like that with any sensory, you know, thing. If you lose sight, you lose, you know, hearing, speech. It would suck, but the ability to touch that you've known your whole life, and you still have everything else. You can hear, you can, you know, well, I guess you can't smell. You can hear, you can see. It'd be crazy because, like you said, you yearn for that feeling again, and you don't remember what the feeling is like. And he does a great job describing on this, and I think it's cool that Niles is actually going to try to help him.
Yeah, I thought that
You
was
know?
pretty cool. The Chief had plans, and like he's gonna be okay with Niles for the time being. Rita's still suffering from her PTSD experience from last episode.
Yeah, which didn't come on until you never even heard about that until she was with Flex, right? Like that was
Yeah.
the first time it kind of manifested, or I guess they
Yeah.
manifested her mind, but it
Well,
brought that
she
sparked
did.
that back up.
She
Yeah.
was asked to do the same thing to get a pirate as well, right?
Oh, was she?
Yeah, way back in season 1.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's absolutely terrible that that kind of situation happens. I'm sure it does quite a bit in the industry, but
Oh yeah.
it's horrible to see that kind of stuff, and I could definitely say that why that would cause PTSD, especially if it's happened to you and you saw it happen to your mother. It's just insane.
And well, with Cliff too, we got to see he wanted to go to Vic's father
Mhm.
for the upgrade, so we got to see Vic's father for the first time since he got the poop kicked out of him uh, in the last season. Or
Yeah,
it,
he looks like he's doing well.
I
You
should
know,
say, yeah.
healed up
Dude,
well. So, what do you think about? I wanted to talk about his girlfriend, the story between him and her.
Cyborg?
Cyborg, yeah.
Yeah.
Cyborg's girlfriend. Like, you know, she had a pretty interesting story. I didn't think it was going to go that route because we knew that it was she was in the military, and she obviously was in some kind of accident in the military because you've seen the scars before, you saw the
Yeah.
files she's seen them before, so you know, I was like, okay, well that makes sense, you know. I didn't realize that they were going to bring in the whole, what was it, Quorum was a group that hired her after she got out of the military, which is very similar to like Deathstroke, and they gave her enhancements. And I guess she did something to mess up, and they tried to take the enhancements away, or they did take her enhancements away. It's almost exactly like Deathstroke, except Deathstroke didn't get his enhancements taken away. He escaped and, you know, basically gave him a big FU. But it's crazy. I didn't see that coming at all. Did you?
Same. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
And I wonder where that's going to lead.
Ooh, there could be bad guys in the future.
Hmm. Like, do you know anything about Quorum? That
No,
would be
not a
interesting.
thing.
Yeah, I know nothing about it, so it's all new to me. It'd be interesting to see where that's going in the future.
Any listeners that know, please drop us a message. I would love to hear your thoughts about it.
Definitely, definitely. What do you think about the Steel and Stone commercial?
Oh, I loved it.
I did
I
too,
loved
man.
it.
One
I
of the
loved it
coolest
so
parts.
much.
My wife didn't watch any of this episode, and then she walked in right when that was going on. She was like, "What the hell are you watching?" And I was like, "You don't want to know." Not right
It's
now.
so
Like,
funny. I loved it
yeah,
so much.
it was. I loved how too before it even got to that. Like that's what Cliff thought he was bringing him out there for, was to be a crime fighter with him. You know, he thought about this. You know, he had it planned out, already the name and everything. The song, he's singing the song.
You know, one thing I'd like to see?
What's that?
Somebody do grocery shopping for Doom Patrol. Like Cliff or Larry or Rita. I'd like to see somebody do grocery shopping because I don't know how to get all their food.
That's true. Well,
It's
dude, look at
just-
the house, man. They have a house that looks like it has a furnace that, like the bottom floor of the Titanic. Like, how does nobody operate that stuff? You know? But it works, man. So it works for the story. Let's see. Oh, let's talk about
Larry.
poor old Larry. Yeah, poor old Larry, man.
Oh, it just really hurt, Greg, because I thought they got me. They got me, they got me,
Mhm.
they got me. Because
Mhm.
I thought it was genuine. I thought his son was being nice. I was like, oh, look at Larry getting these great moments here. Now he deserved it. And then they yank it all away.
Mhm.
They yank it all away.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. When I was watching it, they had me sold on it, sold on it, sold on it. And then there's the moment where his son Paul tells I guess his great grandson to go tell his son to fire up the grill, you know, so that way they can have some food because he's getting hungry. And they had that moment alone, and that whole moment alone, they're having a great conversation. And then Larry at the very end is like, "Oh, I didn't know that." And then he says, yeah, because you were never there, and walked away. Or you couldn't have known, you weren't there, and walked away. And as soon as that happened, I was like, oh no. I was like, something's gonna happen. You don't make a comment like that and walk away without being really angry. And he even said it in this episode. He
I
couldn't
didn't
believe how
know.
much of this
Yeah.
how much of this anger he was carrying on his shoulders, didn't know about it, and it's kind of opened it up. And I can get that. I mean, he's not necessarily wrong for being that angry and being that upset, especially just finding out that, Larry comes out to him in this video. He tells him he's gay, and he didn't know that before. I mean, it's a lot to take in,
Yeah,
a
big
whole lot
time.
to take in. So,
Big time. Really love the scene though. Fantastic how
oh yeah,
he portrays Larry and calls is it Bureau of Normalcy or Department of Defense?
I would think it'd probably be the Bureau of Normalcy
Yeah.
because that was where he was. He told him, I'm sending you back to where you belong. He
Yeah.
said he looked through the Department of Defense and the CIA and went through all that stuff because he had credentials. So he looked at it and found out where he was supposed to go and called the right people. That was a crazy moment, though, man.
Nice
Like
negative spirit action though.
yeah, how about that, man? They're getting along pretty well now, and I didn't realize that he could like pick him and Rita up and carry them and fly them away. That
I
was
know.
pretty crazy.
That was pretty awesome.
What do you think about Rita being bulletproof?
I thought that was wicked. I'm not sure if did it ricochet after, or was it just?
I'm not sure if she absorbed them or if they ricocheted or what, but it didn't hurt
It
her.
was nice of her saving the sun though.
Mm-hmm.
Rita's been trying to take the best steps so far this year.
Oh yeah, and you got Dex, who's the actual grandson of Larry, who gets shot in that situation.
Yeah.
And I can't stand that Paul, his dad, or Larry's son, walks up and he's like, "What did you do?" He's like, "Dude, he didn't do anything. He didn't have a gun." Like, how can you get mad at Larry for that? He didn't even have a gun.
Caught him curse on his family.
Yeah. It's terrible. I feel so bad for Larry, man. That guy always gets the short end of the stick. I know at some point in time he's going to win. You know?
Yeah, and unfortunately for us, the end of this episode, when Dorothy's chasing Baby Doll, she sees the picture of the underground. And then when she gets locked in the furnace by Baby Doll, she makes a wish.
Is that what it was? She saw the picture of the underground. That was I couldn't figure out what that picture was. It was like a map of the answer. She knew there because they even had mentioned to each other, "I'd like to talk to the people that are in your head." Both of them kind of had that back and forth. That was a crazy exchange, though.
Oh yeah, and then Candlemaker coming in and friggin' kicking ass.
I mean, well, Baby Doll. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, dude. She kind of had it coming to her. She locked Dorothy in the furnace and turned the furnace on. Like, no offense, I would hope somebody who's going to protect me would come in to protect me too. But Baby Doll took it to the next level.
She calls that Beast first, and Baby Doll changes into the flame power. We'll say flaming Human Torch. We'll call it Human Torch, and just completely destroys. The Candlemaker even says our friend is dead. So that's the one that she was most attached to too, because we found out earlier in the episode that was one that reminds her of her mother, and her mother talked about that one.
Well, her mother had that one, remember? Because you remember back in the first episodes where it goes back in town, that was the beast that was killing the men. The men didn't want to hunt in the field or be there because that was the beast that was killing them. So it's definitely been there for a while. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then Baby Doll's obviously immediately, upset about it, goes back down to the underworld, and she makes the wish. And did you know the whole thing about the wishes that Chris told us on Friday?
No, I didn't hear.
That's her second wish, because she made the first one at the carnival she was at.
Yeah.
She made the second one tonight. After 3 wishes, the Candlemaker is released. And you remember that Niles was saying that she could destroy the world with the power she has. Maybe that's what they're talking about, and maybe that is the big bad that's coming out that they all have to unite against and fight against. Because I think that's kind of what they set up for in this.
Well, I think it was good too that they set this up where the Human Torch personality of Jane's could easily defeat one of Dorothy's friends.
Oh yeah.
But can do nothing with the Candlemaker. Like attached his side like a rag doll. So I'll be curious to see what happens to Jane after this.
Well, let's count it. We know that the Johnny Flame of Jane's head is dead, right?
Well, are they dead or are they incapacitated?
I think she's dead. Well, Baby Doll's dead. Like, that because that was the wish, right?
Yeah.
Baby Doll's definitely dead. I don't know about Hammerhead because Hammerhead got tossed, but I don't think she's dead. And I don't know about the conductor either.
Yeah.
So there could be 4 dead, more than likely one definitely, maybe 2.
Yeah.
but there could be up to 4 dead. I'm willing to bet it's probably just 1 or 2, but more than likely just 1. But it is very interesting because they stressed in this episode about how each personality is somebody that the girl needs.
Yeah.
So now that she doesn't have that one personality the girl needs, it's going to really change things up, I'm sure. But the end of that episode absolutely blew me away, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely blew me away. Love the way this show's going, dude. Once again, wasn't a big fan of the first season. Gave it a rewatch. Liked it more. Really liking the second season. And maybe it's because I'm more informed about it. And that's makes me more comfortable with the show. And it probably has a lot to do with it. But it's just good storytelling, man. It's insane the directions they go. And they definitely keep me on my toes about what's going to happen next with the show. And that's what I like about a show, is not being able to predict what happens next.
Same. I really enjoy it. I like trying to predict it, but you can't even try to predict what's going out of this.
Yeah. Well, I like trying to predict it, and then every once in a while when I get it right, I'm like, yeah, I said that. I called that. I got it right. But I don't want to do that every time. You know, if I'm doing that every time, then I should be getting paid to do this. So that's not going to happen. But that's about it, man. Was there anything else on Finger Patrol you want to point out? Oh, I wanted to point out that, and I said this on Friday too, I guess I understand the Finger Patrol thing, because there's the finger in the picture. He cuts the finger off the dude in the car, and he puts it in his pocket. But other than that, there wasn't really anything else, other than maybe if you think about a finger being the main point of like touch, or where you would touch the most things with your fingers. Maybe that has something to do with it. Just Finger Patrol seemed like a weird title for it. But I mean, like I said, these guys are smarter than me, and I understand.
Patrol was last episode, Greg. Weird titles are right between them.
That's true. But all right, man. Well, that's it, dude. Let's go ahead and wrap things up, because we have done the news, we've done the questions, we've done both the shows.
Yeah, let's finish it up, buddy.
Talking. Cool deal. Well, where can they find you, man?
You can find me on Twitter at Travis_156. You can drop me a line. We can chat about DC anytime. Like Greg said before, we're part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance. Just search Geek Ultimate Alliance on your podcaster of choice to find us. I want to thank the listeners for the questions. We put out a call, and you guys answered, and they were great.
Help make the show, man, for sure. Made up at least half the show.
Superhero discussions every Friday. Me and Greg slagging our way through Superman the Animated Series, long second season, but we're going to get up to a very fun crossover soon. So
I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. Oh yes. And you can find me at the BatDaddy52 on Twitter. It's my personal handle. Check me out there. Same way with Travis. Check out Geek Ultimate Alliance Network, where you can find us here on the DC Alliance podcast, where you can find us on superhero discussions. Check me and Travis out Friday nights live, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, where most of the people who are on this network are on the Super Civil Servants podcast, and we are on YouTube just talking about anything and everything there is out there in news. There's no boundaries. We don't have any limits. It's a little more adult chat most of the time, but it's like really, really good time, and you can check us out live in the chat room and interact with us as it goes. So other than that, man, that's about it. Oh yeah. Once again, I want to say thank you to all the patrons. Thank you to our patrons. I want to say thank you to all the listeners who download everything. It's been a really, really fun ride for the first month. Hit a lot of marks that I didn't feel like we would, but I'm glad that it's growing, and I'm glad that people are enjoying what's going on. And just be in contact with us. Let us know what you want, and we'll try to answer the call for you. All right. But you good, man? Anything else to say?
Nope.
All right.
I'm perfect, buddy.
I hear you. Well, until next week then. Keep pounding.
Later, guys.